All right, guys, we're continuing with our what-if scenarios from our full guard attack. So we're going to move on to the triangle and what happens when an opponent hides his arm in the triangle. This one has a couple of parts to it. So we've worked into our triangle position, and now Brian looks to hide his arm so that I can't pull it across my center line in order to finish it the traditional way. The first part to this is I try to get this triangle as tight as I can traditionally. So I skip that step. If I need extra space, a lot of times I'll pull on the triceps, pulling it towards my ribs and working my hips over. Now I'm gonna go towards my head control to control the posture, and now I bypass my circuit. Once again, just like we talked about last time. From here, my guard unlocks, I hop the fence and create my angle, and now I step back over. The problem is there's a lot of shoulder still in this area. If you look down from a bird's eye view, you can see a lot of Brian's shoulder, which is not ideal when we're trying to finish the triangle. So this part actually has 3 different techniques that I go to as my next spots in a row. The first thing is I try to get my quads lined up. So I still try to rotate and pinch laterally. Sometimes we can finish just from right here, pulling onto the head. And what happens is it changes the contact point from his delt and bicep towards his trap. And now his trap is making contact with the neck if we can pinch it tight enough. If I feel like that's not there, okay, for whatever reason, rather than trying to fight all day traditionally by pulling that arm across, I'm going to attack his free arm, so the arm outside of my guard. And the way that I do that is I take my hand that's on that same side, I shoot underneath, and now I look to wave high. As I'm waving high, it loads it right into my shoulder. My next spot is I go towards my Mackin and I pull down towards my inverted arm bar. So we come down underneath of the arm. I don't just pull it straight to me. I wave in a big arc motion, which will load his wrist into my shoulder. I still have that good grip right above the elbow. I dream a genie, and now I pull that scooping motion, just like we did in the inverted arm bar earlier in these videos. What happens a lot of times is, because of the way that we're angled, as I pull across, I lose the wrist, so I don't have connection. So I go to the final part. I'm gonna go ahead and grab wrist control with the far side arm. I pin it down towards my belly button, and now I get a waiter hand, kind of like a waiter carrying a tray. Comes right underneath the elbow as I pinch my knees laterally, and I'm gonna push his elbow up towards his forehead. And that will execute the choke. So we'll go through it one more time again. Now, as I come through, locking up my triangle, the guy goes to hide his arm. So I'll look to attack onto the triceps and start moving my hips, just so I have enough space to move my hips laterally. From here, I'm gonna go ahead and try to set my triangle just like I did before. A lot of times there's gonna be a lot of space. So the first thing is I line up my quads. As I do that, a lot of times I'll have to pull the back of the head also, just to get that little extra oomph to finish the choke. Now, if that's not working, I'm gonna come on the same side. My hand shoots underneath, right at the crease of his elbow. I do my arcing wave and I catch his wrist right in between my shoulder and my jawline. From here, I go to my Mackin grip and I finish the inverted armbar. If I lose his wrist, generally it will be on my head side. I'm gonna go with the cross grip, so my far side arm is gonna pin his wrist right down towards my belly button, right down towards my solar plexus, and now I do my waiter hand right underneath of his elbow, and I'm gonna push it up towards his forehead as I squeeze my knees laterally. Those are a couple what-if scenarios that the guy's defending from the triangle.